People First podcast is a show presented by the people with learning disabilities for our friends and a community. We will talk about issues that are important to us and interview interesting guests to find out new information. This is our way to make a difference.
Hello, and welcome to the People First podcast. Today, we are listening to Sophie Alder about dancing and the dance project too. Welcome to the show, Sophie. Would you like to introduce yourself and explain your job role?
Hello everyone, I'm Sophie Alder and I'm the Artistic Learning Manager at Northern Ballet. So a big part of my job is running Ability, a dance course for adults with learning disabilities, and we meet once a week. And then the other things that I do is I oversee the work that our two community dance artists do, and I help them with their planning. I go and observe them teach and give them feedback. And I do other kind of bits and pieces that need doing in our department.
Thank you for being a part of the show today, Sophie. We really enjoy answering our questions.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm sure I will. I've been looking forward to it.
Where did the name shift go from?
Well, names for projects are always really difficult to come up with, and it took us quite a bit of time and a lot of discussion before we were happy with the name we found. But we decided on Shift because it suggests movement, because it's a dance project. That was quite important. So you can shift your weight, you can shift your whole self through the space. So it's a moving kind of movement word, but also it suggests you can use it in the sense of shifting people's perceptions or viewpoints. So changing people's ideas about what dance is, who dance might be for, and how we might approach teaching dance as well. So it's kind of got two different meanings, which we thought fitted the project.
How did you come up with the idea for this project?
So I came up with the idea for the project basically because I couldn't find any training that answered a lot of the questions that I had when I was teaching Ability. So I'd been teaching Ability for about 5-6 years, and I had questions around the best way of working with them because they're all such unique individuals. Their bodies are all very different. The way they learn is very different. So I wanted to find out what the best way was to teach them and the best ways of working with them. And I couldn't find any training that could give me those answers or help me. So instead, we decided to create our own project so we could research how best to work with our dancers. So that's where the idea came from. It was quite selfish, really, me needing to fill gaps in my knowledge and create my own training program, really. But it was great because it meant that I could team up with a dance company from the Netherlands and another dance company from Spain who also worked with similar groups of people. And we got to all learn from each other, which was absolutely brilliant.
Why is it important that people with learning disabilities have the opportunity to dance?
I think it's important that everyone has the opportunity to dance, whether you have learning disabilities, physical disabilities, no disabilities at all. I think everyone should have the chance to dance if they want to. I think it can really develop the sense of who you are. Moving helps develop your sense of your own identity, which is important for everyone. And I think specifically for people with learning disabilities, who maybe might struggle to communicate verbally, it gives them another way of communicating and expressing themselves and their ideas. The same for everyone. We all often struggle to communicate verbally, so it gives you a non-verbal way of communicating your ideas. It's really good for fitness as well. And I think most importantly, it's really fun. And through dancing, you can make new friends. It's a whole new social circle, or even, I mean, ability feels like a family. So it does lots of different things. And that's why I think it's really important that everyone has the opportunity to dance.
I do know and have to practice when dancing. Do you need special equipment?
Safe practice. So I don't think you need specific equipment. I think safe practice is a lot about using your common sense. One thing that's really important is making sure the space that you're working in is safe. So making sure it's warm enough, making sure that the space is clear of any hazards, and that it's that it's got a floor that's suitable for dancing on. But also safe practice is about making sure people are warmed up properly, that you cool down at the end of the session, that just basically taking care of the people you're working with in the space, making sure they have a drink of water when they need one. Yeah, and just looking after the people in the space. So you don't need any special equipment necessarily. It's just being sensible.
And drink breaks.
Yes, it is really important that you do have regular breaks. Partly so that you can have a quick drink of water, but also so that you don't get overtired. And I think that is really important when you can help prevent people getting injured or having accidents by ensuring they do have regular breaks, because it takes a lot of concentration and focus. It's your brain that's working really hard as well as your body. So you do need to have regular breaks when you're dancing. That's really important.
I do different learning disabilities create different challenges in learning to dance. Some dance is easier for people and harder for others.
I think everyone is unique and learns and different people find different things challenging or easy. And I think that applies to everyone, kind of regardless. Some people really struggle with remembering sequences and patterns of movement. Other people find it really hard to move in time with music or a certain beat or rhythm. And some people really struggle with coordination and being able to balance for various reasons. So I think everyone finds different things difficult and some things really easy. A lot of the work I do, we create work together. So it also involves skills like being able to work with other people, being able to listen and also give your ideas and be sensitive to each other. So there are a lot of different things that are involved in learning how to dance. So yeah, I think things that I have found is that with ability, everything tends to take a bit more time. And often it takes a longer to see people's progress. But one thing that's also really handy is finding lots of different ways of explaining something. So sometimes I might come up with an image, like I want you to imagine that your head is a balloon and it's going to float up to the ceiling. For some people that works really well. For others that doesn't at all. So I might just get them to think about reaching the top of their head to the ceiling, or putting their hand on the top of their head, and they have to press the top of their head into their hand. So I think it's finding different ways of communicating and different approaches or strategies to work that work for different people.
What are the key things we've learned from this research project?
The key things from the research project that I've found, I think one of the things is there's not just one way to do something. There are lots of different ways that you can do the same thing, if that makes sense. So while I might teach a coordination exercise in one way, someone else might teach an exercise about coordination that's completely different, but both of them achieve the same thing. So there's lots of different ways you can do the same thing. And I think that's a really important thing that kind of applies to life in general, not just teaching dance. Another thing, thinking about dance teaching specifically, it's kind of made me realise that it's okay just to focus on one thing at a time and not trying to do everything all together. With dance, because there are so many different skills you're trying to develop at once, you feel like you need to cover everything all the time. But actually, it's fine just to concentrate on balance in an exercise, or just to concentrate on building some strength. And that's fine. You don't have to do everything all at once. Another thing that really came through is what we ended up calling a layering strategy. So introducing the basic kind of level, just one idea, and then gradually you might add other elements. So an exercise gradually becomes more and more complex and more challenging. And working in that way means that people can either stick at level 1, so they can just concentrate on remembering the movement, or level 2 might be thinking about timing as well. Level 3 might be also thinking about eye focus and where you're looking. So you gradually add more and more elements. And that was a really, really important thing that we all learned, just how useful that is when teaching dance. But I think in a more general sense, because I was working with people from different countries and with very different ideas about things, and different priorities, I became very good at being diplomatic and not taking offence easily, being very clear in my communication, and taking a step back and trying to see things objectively rather than reacting straight away in potentially quite an emotional way. Just taking a time to take a breath and think and be very kind of measured before I responded to emails, or be better in my communication, I think. So, and that's been something that I can use in all aspects of my life.
What happens to the information you gathered? What the next step?
So all the information that we gathered has been turned into a website, which is a resource that anyone can access. So you can go and you can see videos and you can read about the approaches we developed, the best methods we found for teaching dance, and anyone can go and look at that. And we keep trying to add to it as well. So we're trying to develop that website and that resource. I've also, in fact, all of the 3 companies have managed to share our learning and that information by training other people. So we've all held workshops and events where we've told other people about what we've learnt and done some training with them. So yeah, it's kind of an educational resource that people who already teach dance can use, people who are just beginning to learn how to teach dance. Lots of people can use it, and hopefully it will always be there for people to access.
Could you tell us more about the Burberry Inspire project and why the arts are so important in learning and development?
So Burberry Inspire was a really big 4-year project that was funded by Burberry, the designer label, because they're based in West Yorkshire. That's where their main kind of factories are and their headquarters. And it was a project that involved lots of arts organisations. So Leeds Playhouse were involved, Leeds Young Film, the Hepworth Gallery, Northern Ballet, were also one of the key partners. And we worked in 4 different secondary schools that were across West Yorkshire. Some were in Leeds, some outside Leeds. 2 of the schools actually were in Keighley, very close to where you are. And they had a whole year of arts activity working with these arts organisations. I think projects like that are really important because it inspires young people to maybe think beyond what they already know and think about jobs and careers in the creative industries and things that they might not think are for them or that they're able to do. And I think it helps them realise that, oh, maybe I could get a job working in the theatre as a stage manager or a lighting designer or an actor or a dancer. It makes things feel more achievable for people to be able to do. And also it develops lots of really good skills that are important for life. Communication skills, the ability to get on with different people, the ability to problem solve, as well as being able to express themselves through different art forms. So that project has kind of come to an end now, really. It went through the pandemic, which was a bit tricky. But through that project, Northern Ballet also managed to create a link with a ballet company in America, which was really good, American Ballet Theatre.
We heard about the 30 dance for how important we are to helping gather the mission of the projects.
Well, the Shift project was designed all around ability. The project was about them, really. They were a key part in it, and the project was based around testing out the different activities and approaches we came up with. I tried them out on ability, and we measured how much they improved through doing these different and new activities. So ability were a really important part of the project. It was all about them, really.
Do the ability troupe work with mainstream dancing groups and ballet?
Well, this is kind of top secret, but I'm going to let you know. At the moment, we are planning to make a dance film with ability and some of the Northern Ballet Company dancers. Fingers crossed, we will get the dates to do that. That should be happening next February, March, April. So yes, they do get to dance with mainstream dancers as well, and I think that will be really exciting for them to work with the Northern Ballet Company dancers, because not many people get to work with them at all. So that's a really exciting project. It's slightly top secret at the moment, though. I'm not sure if I should have told you. Yes, hopefully we will launch that film as part of Expressions in July.
We read about the Expressions dance event. Could you tell us more about how that went, and can we see recording videos on what went on?
So Expression is an inclusive dance platform that we hold every year at Northern Ballet. It happens every July, and we have all different kinds of groups come and perform in our studio theatre. We also hold workshops as well. So we have usually it lasts over 2 or 3 days, and we have several performances, usually 3 or 4 performances with different groups performing at different times. We usually have at least one professional dance company involved performing and giving workshops. So it's a really exciting event, and it will be happening again next July. So maybe you can come along and watch and be part of the audience. Trying to think what the other part of your question was. About any films or videos. Unfortunately, we don't have any videos of Expressions. We have a short kind of trailer that tells you what the event is, but we don't have any recordings of the performances. So you'll just have to come along and watch next July.
What do you think the impact of the SHIFT projects us be?
Well, I think the most kind of immediate impact is it's changed the way I teach, and I think it's changed the way the people, the Spanish company and the company from the Netherlands teach. I think we've all changed the way that we work, and also it's helped us develop connections with each other and other organisations in those countries, which has been really good. I now know a lot more about inclusive dance in Spain and the Netherlands. I know about festivals and different dance companies and all kinds of things, which has been great. We've also shared what we've learned quite widely with other people. So hopefully, people who work with inclusive groups have also developed their practice, and they're using new and different ways to work with their groups. Another thing that's happened, at the very end of the project, we held a conference, ended up an online conference, and we had a panel discussion with people from the Royal Ballet, the ISTD, which is the Imperial Society of Teachers of Dancing, and they are a really big international organisation who write the syllabus for ballet, modern, tap, ballroom, Greek dance, all kinds of dancing, and also Canduco Dance Company we were involved. And since then, we've all kept in touch with each other and created a network, and we meet quite regularly. And what we're concerned with is trying to make ballet more inclusive for everyone. So we're looking at how we can make the teaching practice of ballet more inclusive, how we can try and get more inclusive ballet work on stage, so that there are disabled people and non-disabled ballet dancers working together and showing work on the main stage. And also kind of around that, educating audiences so that it's not anything different or out of the ordinary to see all different kinds of bodies dancing together. So that's a really kind of important thing that's come out of the project that hopefully will continue and hopefully will influence the direction that ballet takes in the UK and hopefully internationally to make it a more inclusive dance form?
Yeah, I did dance school at Berkeley, Berlin Baths.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what kind of dancing is it? Is it a certain style, or do you create your own stuff?
Yeah, we do like it's on 60s. Over 60, we do sitting chairs. Yeah, sitting chairs down to the chairs.
How long have you been doing that?
That's a few months, but it's finished now.
But
Yeah.
do you think you're going to do some more dancing? Would you like to do more?
I used to dancing. Think we got. Think of the on today show. Think again. Sophie of taking the time to think to us today. We found out a lot of information about the shift children by spoken to you. Is there anything is you'd like to us about the thoughts of?
I don't think there's anything I'd like to ask, but I'd like to thank you for inviting me to be interviewed as part of your podcast. It's been really nice meeting you all. And I think I was really impressed with the questions you came up with. You came up with some really interesting questions for me. So thank you very much.
Don't forget to like and share the podcast on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as the People First Podcast. You can also find the podcast on our website alongside the new People First Podcast, along where we will be sharing our thought out about the interview we have recorded. Thank you for listening, and we see you again in the next episode.